Hello there and welcome. In this video we are looking at a very special external canister filter, one that has some very unique features which you don't see on other external canister filters on the market at the moment. This is the Oase BioMaster Thermo. This particular one is the 250 litre model and I managed to pick it up second hand. Now if you don't recognise the brand Oase, there's probably a few reasons for that, and the first one is they don't have many products in the aquarium market with that branding on, and also they are mainly, or have mainly been up to this point, a pond brand, and they are very highly regarded in that particular niche. Oase is essentially the Eheim of the pond market. They produce some exceptional pond products, all very high quality products, and they're all built to a really high standard, ranging from small pond pumps all the way up to huge commercial units. So they are very well known and have a long history. But another brand you may recognise but probably didn't realise it was by Oase are BioOrb. They are also the producers of BioOrb. So now you may have a better understanding of where they sit in the market. They are high end, high quality and a very trustworthy brand. So this brings me back to this particular filter. So the BioMasters are Oase's flagship external aquarium filters, and just like Oase does with its pond filtration, it is a special unit. It has some features which you don't see anywhere else, and also it is made from high quality plastics designed to last a long time. So let's talk about some of these unique features I've been going on about. Well, firstly, if you look at the top of the filter, it might look a little bit different to how you generally recognise an external filter. There are different segments. The first and foremost part of this filter, which sets it apart from a lot of other filters, is the internal heater. So this heater sits inside the filter, and as the water goes through, the water is heated and it returns to your aquarium. Another great feature is the fact that you can actually set the heat from the outside here. You don't have to get your hands wet going into your aquarium. So the next bit of this filter, which is a little bit different to what you may be used to, is the way that it unlocks, seals itself, and also what's contained within this part here. So firstly, let's talk about this here. This is where you connect your pipework to, and it's pretty simple, pretty similar to every other filter out there. You've got an inlet, you've got an outlet, you connect your pipes, pretty standard. This lever here does two things. The first thing it does is control the flow. The second thing it does is allow you to unlock this part here, and it also locks the pipework. So the same way that the fluval filters have that lever which goes up and it stops the water backflowing into the filter or coming out if you remove this part, this does the same thing. So what you do is you move that around to there. When it's turned that way, it actually rotates the entire top unit. So doing this would allow you to remove the filter from your cabinet if you wanted to do so, but leaving the pipework in place. Now, putting this back in place, there's only one way of doing it, and they've ensured that by having these different sized fins. They only go in a certain way. And then to relock that, you would move this lever back to this position and that would lock that in place. But I'm going to leave it open so I can show you the next feature of this filter. Now you may think that this is just a normal priming button, and it is. That's what it's for. This allows you to prime your filter. But what's below this is the important part, and that is the unique part as well. So to unlock this part, just like the other part there, you move this lever round that way. The interesting point is you can't move this lever unless you have unlocked that lever, and that stops you from accidentally siphoning all the water from your aquarium out through this hole should you remove it without locking off the pipework. So clever safety feature, and that's what Oase is all about, thinking about problems and creating a solution. So let's have a look what's in here. So once that's been moved round, you can then remove this chamber. Now this is a very special chamber, and you won't see this anywhere else in any other filter. And what's so good about this is inside of here. Now we'll remove this casing and I will show you what's in there. So you have these sponges. And these sponges are your pre-filter. So if you think about another external canister filter, you may have some fine wool mesh in there at the very start of where the flow comes in, just to get out a lot of the debris before it hits your main filter. Well, this is that essentially, but it's hard built into the filter. Now there is normally another sponge here, but I'm missing that from this unit. But as I said, that's because it's second hand. Now what happens in the flow of this filter is it comes in here, and then it will go into this chamber. And when it's in that chamber, it will hit these sponges, have to go through them, go through this pipe work, and then carry on into your main media. But what it means is a lot of the debris is taken out of the water before it gets to your main media. The result of that is you don't have to open this filter as often, you don't have to service it as often, you don't have to clean your media inside of this filter as often, which means a lot less work for the end user. All you have to do is fairly frequently remove this part from your filter, take it to wherever you clean your filter media normally, give it a rinse and reinsert it back into the unit. Really easy and a really unique solution to a problem such as prolonging the time between filter cleans. Again, this can only go one way back into the filter due to the different sized fins. And then you just lock it in place using that lever. Another feature of this filter is the fact it has a carrying handle. Now, not a lot of filters have carrying handles. It's just a little extra feature which makes your life a bit easier, which no one else seems to have thought of or given much regard when designing their external filters. Now, another feature of this handle is the fact that it locks these clips, or indeed it locks this clip in place, which means you can't release your head unit until you've raised the handle up. Just a safety feature again. It means no one can come along, mess around with your filter, unlock it without turning the flow off and there's a flood in your living room. It's just one of these things that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but you appreciate the fact it's there. So let's take a look inside this filter and see what it's all about. So to get inside this filter, there are 4 retaining clips which you have to open, all made of a really high quality and thick plastic, because this is going to be one of the main parts that breaks over time, and they've just beefed it up a little bit so you don't have to run out and buy a new filter in a couple of years. This is going to last. You should also have this lever over to that side as well, just to stop any water flowing through into the filter when you open the unit. So now you can see inside of the filter. This grey tube is that pre-filter I mentioned, and there is our heater. So like most external filters, the impeller is in the top of the unit. It's called the head unit. And the impeller is basically the only part of a filter that's going to break regularly. This is where the rubber meets the road, and if anything's going to break in your filter, it's going to be this. So this bit has to be durable, has to be reliable, otherwise you're always going to be replacing it. And in some external filters that's not the case. I've seen quite a few different brands of external filter. Some of them are good, some of them aren't so good, and this is the part which is always breaking. But this particular impeller is a very high quality. Firstly, the parts which hold the shaft in place are also a very unique design, one I've never seen before. Normally these are just little rubber caps and they sit on the end of the impeller and they wear over time. This particular one though is a fixed hard cap with 2 rubber rings around them. So this is already a more durable design. Another thing you're going to notice is the fact that the impeller shaft is metal. Now that is an incredible thing, because most impeller shafts these days are ceramic, and ceramic shafts are no way as durable as a metal shaft. Now I don't know what kind of metal it is, but I'm going to assume it's a stainless steel. But what that means is this shaft isn't going to break. Now the impeller part itself looks pretty standard. You've got a normal magnet, you've got what looks like possibly a nylon casing for the magnet, and then your impeller there with the 3 vanes on it. Another feature of this head unit is a really big beefy O-ring around the top of the head unit. That's just to stop any leaks coming through. And this is another point of failure of most external filters, is this O-ring. But this one is big, it's beefy, and it's not going to be breaking anytime soon. So let's have a look at the actual inside of this filter, because there's been a lot of discussion about everything else except for inside of the filter. Now, as far as inside of the filter goes, it's actually pretty standard. There are trays of media, 3 trays of sponge in fact, and 1 tray here which will be used for your biomedia. Of course you could just rearrange whatever filter media you wanted in there and replace some sponges with some chemical filtration, or however you like. But it's actually the most simple and standard part of this filter. It's kind of the only part of this filter that I recognise in comparison to other external filters. Trays of media. It's pretty standard, pretty classic. Now if you bought a new version of one of these, you would also get a pack containing lots of tubing and pipe work to get this filter set up on your aquarium. It comes with a spray bar, it comes with the classic kind of shepherd's crook that goes over the side of the aquarium so you can connect your pipe work up and in. It's a little bit special though because it has a directional part underneath it, but I'm missing all of that because I don't have this as a new boxed model. However, you'd get it if you bought a new one. Now I'm going to be using this filter itself on a setup I'm doing in the near future, and I'll show you it running in future videos. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and happy fish keeping!